First, we are going to talk about the roadmap itself, safe implementation roadmap itself, how it looks like, and Kotter's 8 steps, right? So how the change is implemented in any organization. So Kotter's 8 steps of leading the change were there much before even SAFE existed. SAFE kind of adapted the Kotter's 8 steps of change, and how these steps are aligning with the Kotter steps, right? So how SAFE implementation roadmap aligns with the Kotter's change, leading the change, right? And what are some of the challenges that you face, and what are the anti-patterns that you get when you are going through the implementation? And finally, we are going to look at the strategies for the change agents. Okay, there is a lot of content. There is a lot that I can talk, but with the limitation of the time that we have, I'll try to focus on what is critical, what is most important. Okay, any piece of advice that you're getting here is not to be used and say that, okay, hey, Sriram said this. No, every case is different. And here what we are doing is like 20,000 feet high level overview. All right. Let's look at Kotter's 8-step process first. So this is the Kotter's 8-step process. Create a sense of urgency, build a guiding coalition, form strategic vision. So this is how the whole change should happen. First of all, let's look at leading the change. So why did Kotter even wrote that book, Leading the Change? So if you look at the world, the way business was conducted, the way the business was done 2000 years back is totally different from how the business was done 1000 years back, and how it was done 200 years back, and how it was done 30 years back, and how it is being done today, right? We all agree to that. Organizations kept on changing. The way businesses work kept on changing. When the way businesses are kept on changing, some businesses just fell off because they couldn't adapt to the change. And that happens for every business. So Kotter saw the need. John Kotter, by the way, is a professor in Harvard. I think he's retired now. He was a professor at Harvard. He wrote this book called Leading Change, and there are several other books from Kotter. Leading Change is one of the topmost read book. So he created this 8-step process for the leaders on how you must change the organization. How do you bring the change in the organization? Old ways of working will not work for the future, right? I mean, we all agree to that. So that is where he came up with these 8 steps. So first thing he says is the creating a sense of urgency. So anybody who is want to bring the change in the organization should create that sense of urgency within the organization, like saying that, okay, hey, we have to do this. And we call it as a tipping point in SAFE, reaching the tipping point. So reaching the tipping point is like, I mean, you all must have gone through some change in your life, right? So some point of time you said, no, this is not, I want to live my life. This is not how I want to do the things. And you did a change to your own self. So what was the trigger? Why did you make that change in your life? Why did you make that change in your organization? So there was some compelling reason, some strong reason, which kind of forced you to change the way you are doing the things, change the way you think, change the way you work, right? So that is what is the creating the sense of urgency. So it is important to create that sense of urgency with the leadership and also to your organization. All right. And then you are going to build a guiding coalition. So what does it mean? So basically you are building a team of people who can talk the same language as you, who are thinking like you, and say that, yes, we need to change. Otherwise, our organization is not going to survive, or we cannot continue to achieve the results, right? So that is what is building a guiding coalition. So you will have your own group of people, group of Kotter, we call it, right? I mean, so the people who are from the same kind of thinking. Then what you do is that you are going to create a strategic vision. So what is that we want to achieve first? What is that? What is our goal? Where exactly we want to which is going to be large team, which is going to be part of your initiative. So that is the kind of people that you need, what people you need, whom you can trust, whom you have to take along with you guys in order to embrace the change. Then what you are going to do is that you are going to enable them. When you say enable them, it could be in the form of training, it could be in the form of communication, it could be giving the additional powers, additional charges to them. So that's what you are going to do by enabling the teams. Okay. And remove any problems that the team is facing, right? Yeah, because of this scenario. So we are using this old MS project. If we continue to use MS project, we cannot embrace Agile, or we cannot work in the new way. So okay, get rid of project, right? So you are going to bring in the process changes, policy changes, role changes, structural changes when you are enabling your team. And once you enable the team, you are going to look for the short-term wins. What is that immediate win that we can get in order to make sure that, yes, we are going in the right direction. Okay. Then you are going to accelerate it. Then you go to institute the change. So these are the 8 steps which are going to happen. So which you are going to use in order to lead the change. So whether you use SAFe or you don't use SAFe, you use any other scaling framework, or you use any other management methodology, if you want to build a change in your organization, these 8 steps are mandatory. And remember, these steps are sequential in nature. These steps are sequential in nature. So they are not like, okay, yeah, I will create sense of urgency first and then I go to the institute change. No, they are sequence in nature. So you are going to continue this journey through these 8 steps. That is how you create the sense of, that is how you bring the change in any organization. And Kotter did not come up with these 8 steps like out of the blue. So he has observed several organizations and he has talked to several leaders, CEOs, and it was a research that he has done and came up with these 8 steps. So if you read the book Leading Change, he has several examples of how some particular manager has done and how some particular CEO has done the changes, kind of stuff. So some of the companies that sustained that kind of state in the business in spite of several challenges in the world are like IBM is one company, right? So it was in existence even before World War I, World War II, and then it was thrown out a few countries and it sustained. And there was a time IBM had to let 40% of their employees go, and it survived. And today it is one of the thriving companies, right? So it is always important to bring in that change as the world of business changes, as the world moves faster with technology and with government, with regulation. You must start changing yourself again and again and again. All right. Now let's look at how these 8 steps are implemented by SAFe. So this is the roadmap of SAFe. So what we talk about, the first step we call is create a sense of urgency. That is the first step that you are looking at here, leading SAFe executive workshop. We are talking about reaching the tipping point. So reaching the tipping point is the place where you see that your organization is not performing as it was performing before. Okay. Or the distance between you and your nearest competitor is reducing. Right? Your competitor is doing better, or you are not doing better, or your competitiveness in the market is going down. So why it is going down? Maybe there is a lack of innovation in your company, maybe your delivery speed, or maybe customers are not happy with your product, or government regulation has changed and you are unable to change or adapt to the new changes. So there could be several reasons why your organization started going down the hill. So the moment you see that your organization started going down the hill, reason for change, right? So that's where you are going to put forward to your leadership and tell them that, okay, hey guys, this is what is happening. And this is what we call as an executive pitch, and convince the leadership to go for SAFe implementation. Okay. In our SPC class, we talk about a lot of tools and techniques on how to convince the leadership. Usually the CEOs and the CIOs of the company who are at the top level of the organization are not willing to listen to you. Why they are not willing to listen to you? Because they are at that position, they are at that level because of the things that they did in the past, right? So they believed in themselves, they did the things in certain way, and they achieved the success. That's why they are on the top of the organization. When you are already at the top of your organization, it is very difficult to convince you because you will have too much of ego, right? So when I say ego, not in a negative sense, a lot of confidence on the way they are doing the things. And you are going and challenging that confidence. You're challenging their success. So how do you challenge it without hurting? And how do you make sure that your organization starts getting into the journey of safe implementation is the biggest thing. I am going to teach you, we are going to teach you a lot of tools and techniques in the in the SPC class. I mean, this is not the time that I use. So this is the first step where you are creating the sense of urgency within your organization. Once you create the sense of urgency, what happens is that you need the people who can speak the same language as you. So what is the second step we are calling here? Building a guiding coalition. And here you are creating some change agents, SPCs, within the organization who are going to speak same language as you. You are going to, who are going to speak the same language as you, right? So that is building the guiding coalition. Once you build the guiding coalition, what you are going to do is that you are going to create a strategic vision. That is where you are going to come up with something called Lean Agile Center of Excellence. We call it as a LACE team. So this LACE team is going to provide the strategic vision. So that is step 3. Form a strategic vision. So which organizations, which countries, which portfolio, which department we want to convert to safe first, and then go to the next one and next one and next one, right? So that is what is forming a strategic vision. And once you do that, what is your next step? Enlist a volunteer army. So you are going to identify the people who can help you. So you are going to conduct leading safe for the leaders, lean portfolio management for the product and portfolio management office, and you are going to train your senior leaders and executives on what exactly needs to happen next. And then you are going to enable action by removing the barriers. So what you are going to do is that you are going to create, you are going to create your value streams here. And once you create the value streams, you are removing the barriers by training all the people on the train. So what do we mean by training all the people on the train? So what are we trying to achieve here? So SAFE is, in simple words, 2 ways I would define it. One is, it is a lean agile framework. That is one way of defining. Second way of defining is that it's a new culture. SAFE is completely a new culture. And when you are trying to embrace a new culture, there'll be a lot of rigidity. There'll be a lot of pushback from your mindset. That is bound to happen. So if you think that making this change is easier, think about yourself. So what time you get up in the morning? Let's say you get up at 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning, and you want to advance it by maybe 30 minutes or an hour. Okay. Can you do it in a flash like this? You can't, right? Imagine that you need 8 hours of sleep. You want to get up at 6 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock. Then you need to go to bed early 1 hour. And then you need to finish your dinner 1 hour early. You need to come back from the work an hour early, and you should go back to the whole routine changes. Even if one of them gets disturbed, what happens? You cannot implement the change that you wanted. Now we are talking about an army of people, like 120 people, 130 people in a train, right? So many people need to embrace this change. So it needs a lot of hand-holding. lot of thinking change, lot of strategic way of delivering the message, right? So that is where you need to have the coaches who can help you. Who can help you with the new ways of thinking and who can help you remove the barriers. And then once you have that army, what is that you are doing? Generate short-term wins. So that is what you are doing with your first PI planning and then execution of the PI. So here, this diamond kind of structure is showing you the how you get the business results. So on the top of the diagram, you see the organizations that have embraced SAFe have gained so much percentage of mileage in their implementations. And these numbers are only from the submitted cases. In my own implementation, in my own experience, these numbers have been more than double. I would say engagement has gone up by more than 100%, and productivity has gone up by 100%. I have noticed that, and quality has gone up like anything, and time to market has gone up like anything. So I have seen this I have seen this happening in several organizations, and if you are going through the SAFe journey and you still don't see these results, definitely time to talk. So feel free to set up some time with Sharath or me, and we'll be happy to facilitate maybe half an hour, 1 hour time, spend time with you guys. So what is happening here is that, sorry guys, my mouse is very sensitive. So what is happening here is that you got this result, and then as you continue your journey further and further, you are kind of improving your business results, right? This is a short-term win. That is the next step. Generate short-term wins, sustain and accelerate, and institute the change. So that's what you are doing. You are sustaining your short-term win, and then you are accelerating in the next step. That's how SAFe implementation roadmap directly follows the leading change steps from John Kotter. So leading change is something, as I mentioned, several executives have followed the strategy, and they have used it widely, and it is proven successfully. And SAFe also uses the same kind of steps which are used for leading the change in any organization. Okay. So and to complete these steps, there are a lot of small things that you need to take care, a lot of finite details that you need to be aware of. All those things will be taught in the implementing SAFe, that is SPC class. And here I'm just talking about the steps, this roadmap, how it is going to look like. Okay. And one of the fallbacks of the training, I would say, instead of calling fallbacks, what we don't teach in SAFe is that the challenges that you face. We talk about how to do it, but what challenges you will face is not something that we don't talk about. So that is something you have to gain out of experience. That is something you have to gain out of the experience. And here I would like to talk about few challenges that you will face, and how to address them will be something that you will learn as you start thinking in the lean agile way.
Yes.
So these are some of the challenges that you face. The ones on the left hand side are the challenges, and the one on the right hand side are the anti patterns. I'll go over each of them at a high level. Management is not committed. Management is like, yeah, let's see. Yeah, so you want to give a try, go ahead and give a try. But they don't have skin in the game. Then you will not be able to successful with the transformation. You can't be successful with the transformation. That is important. Every change, whether it is say embracing SAFe or any other framework, has to be top down. It has to be top down, not bottom up. Okay. Management is not committed, then you will not be able to achieve the desired results. And many organizations these days focus on utilization. Utilization, when I say utilization, basically like you are hiring a contractor or a full-time employee for 8 hours to work for 8 hours a day. And you look at, okay, so where and all this person is spending these 8 hours. So if you are focused on utilization, then you will not be able to achieve what you want to achieve. So you have to move away from utilization concept. You have to focus more on the outcomes. Local optimization. So this is the biggest challenge that people face. Local optimization is not going to help you. Okay. So local optimization is going to negatively impact. Maybe it will show initial results, but after some time, no, it won't help you. You need to have systems thinking. So what is the systems thinking and what is the local optimization? So local optimization is something like, imagine you are into the airline industry and you have a flight, right? You're asking your marketing team to design the flight. What will they do? So they want to sell more seats. They will cramp, probably they'll put all the leg space is less and then sitting space is less. They want to get more money per seat. They might want to sell at a higher price. They might want to cram the people and all that, right? And if you give it to the person who looks for the best design and comfort, they are going to make it more spacious, right? But can you accept either of the designs? No. You have to optimize both the requirements, both the people, both the sides. That's what is the local optimization. So when you want to evolve a greater design and greater output, local optimization will not be helpful. You need to have systems thinking that will help you optimize the whole system. That's what we call optimize the whole system, not the local optimization. And dogmatic agile. So why I call it dogmatic agile than pragmatic agile? So there is a lot of agile literature in the market now. If you just Google for a word, you'll get like 100 pages, 200 pages about that particular word. And you understand, yeah, this is what it is. You kind of read and get the knowledge of that vocabulary, but not the understanding. That's what I say. So knowledge and understanding are not the same. Understanding comes only when you try to implement it. Knowledge is like, imagine that you want to go to a country or you want to go to a new country and then you want to survive there. So what do? You do some research, right? So what you are gaining is the knowledge. And you will get the understanding only when you start living there, when you go there, right? So dogmatic agile is like having that knowledge and pragmatic agile is having that understanding. Local situations are completely different from what your book talks about. So if you have a coach that keeps saying, no, that's not how you do the things, no, that's not how you do the things, then you don't have a right coach. I can confidently say that. Okay. Typically, coaches recommend alternative approaches. Okay, so why are you doing this? Yeah, this is the anticipated benefit I am looking at. Okay, so did you get the anticipated benefit? Yes or no, right? And if the answer is no, then what else is the better way that you think you can do it? So these are the kind of questions that agile coaches should be asking. If an agile coach keeps saying, no, that's not how you do things, this is not the way, that is not the way, then he or she is not a great coach, guys. So I can confidently say that. Okay. And next thing is targeting the moonshot instead of roof shot. So this is the most important thing. This is where many companies and many coaches fall for it. So when I say moonshot versus the roof shot, you as an IT company, as an organization who is providing solutions, maybe insurance sector or telecom sector or capital markets, what you want to do is that you want to be the best in your industry. You don't have to be the best in the technology. So imagine if Bank of America wants to be better than Apple with respect to technology. Is that a good idea? Yeah, not a good idea. But should it be that idea? Should it be encouraged? Not necessarily. As long as they are the better than the best in their industry, you are good. So aim for the roof shot, not for the moon shot. So always aim for the roof shot. So what is my limitation? Where can I be? What should I be? So once you achieve that, you don't have to worry about going for the moon shot. And most of the times we look for the ideal scenario. That is what is the moon shot. ideal scenarios exist only on theory, guys. In practical, not ever a single situation will be there where it is ideal scenario. Okay, and if anybody says that we have implemented SAFe by the book, yeah, they are just BSing. Okay. One of the important elements that is ignored is the DevSecOps. When you are going for a transformation, focus shifts on the technology team, which is providing the required business functionality, not on the DevSecOps team or system team, which is providing the stability required for the organization. So I have seen it time and again. So like they don't get enough importance. So you should have focus on both dev team and as well as the systems team who are providing your solutions. And traditional budgeting is another biggest challenge. So you don't bring along your leadership team who are part of the budgeting for the transformation, then you are not doing the justice. It is going to be a biggest challenge because traditional budgeting does not go hand in hand with lean budgeting. Okay. And QMS, yes, you will have the QMS. From QMS, you have to move towards the lean QMS. If you don't focus on the lean QMS, sorry, lean QMS, then your deliveries can get delayed. And since I live in Washington, D.C. area, I know the government, how government works. Your regulatory and government environment would be another challenging thing. And I have seen several agencies which want to embrace Agile, which want to embrace Lean and Agile, and the challenges that they go through. And the last one is your inability to quickly pivot. So don't be too passionate about what you are doing. Make sure that you are able to quickly pivot from what you are doing, right? So these are some of the challenges that you'll be facing while implementing. And some of the anti-patterns, right? Bottom-up approach. Your management is not accepting. So what you want to do, let me try a bottom-up approach. Okay. And too much focus on metrics. You look at everything is measured. Everything is measurable. Everything can be measured. Yeah, everything can be measured. And if you focus too much on metrics, you lose the focus on the outcomes that you are expecting from the business. So, and you are building internal change agents who will listen. Yeah, so this guy will listen to me. So let me make him a change agent. No, you need people who are true lean agile leaders who can challenge, who can question the way you are doing or your approach. Okay, not the people who will just listen to you. That's important. Not investing in new tools. So some companies say, yeah, we don't want to invest in the new tools. Yeah, so that is going to be an anti-pattern as well. Okay. So if leadership is focused on command control, if your leadership is too much focused on command and control instead of going towards the generative culture, then Gen X is not going to accept command and control mindset, guys. Today's kids and today's generation and today's white collar workers need that independence. They want to work on their terms, not on your terms, right? So that's where you are embracing the generative culture. Okay. And many companies are like, they don't bring external coaches because it's a budget thing. Yeah, so we don't have budget, we'll use the internal coaches. Internal coaches are always constrained by what they are doing. When I say constrained by what they are doing, so they know what their boss likes and what their boss does not like. So what they do is that they limit on what they can speak. And also they know the organization limitations and they don't think outside the box. So you need both internal and external coaches in order to get an unbiased view. Internal coaches will help you navigate through the challenges in the organization. External coaches will bring you that external view of what should happen. Combination of these two is important. Okay. The other thing is that not identifying the MVP and MMF for the solution. So minimum viable product and minimum marketable feature. You need to have a clear identification of MVP and MMF for your solution. If you don't identify, you keep investing the money. You keep building, and then ends up nowhere. Okay, so it is very important to have MVP and MMF defined. They can be adjusted. But have a clear definition and early definition of what MVP is and what MMF is, right? And making innovation part of the work. This is the biggest anti-pattern. Yeah, when you are working, you have to be innovative. No, innovation and work cannot happen at the same time. Innovation has to have separate time. You must allocate the time, you must allocate the budget for innovation. And many people think that, yeah, it's waste of money and waste of time. But you can't imagine the kind of miracles that happen when you give separate time and space for innovation. In long run, you are going to get a lot of mileage. And lean startup culture. This is another important aspect. So if you don't understand the lean startup culture, you will end up spending a lot of money on your new initiatives. So better understand and bring in the lean startup culture. Okay, lean startup culture will help you to quickly identify where you are failing and to make adjustments to your product and solution. So these are some of the challenges and anti-patterns. And finally, I would say the strategies that you can use as change agent. Don't go to attack the toughest problem. Start solving the easiest problem that you can solve. That's important. So when you start with the easiest problem, then what happens is that it's a quick win for you. So you can show the results saying that, okay, yeah, this is done. And people might be saying, yeah, this is a small problem that you have solved. Okay, but that would have solved or loosened up the other bigger problems, guys. I have noticed this time and again. Solve the easy problem, and then tough problems will become a little bit loosened. And then identify the next problem to solve, and next problem to solve, and keep changing the problem that you want to solve, right? Constantly identify the problem that you want to solve. So when there is a crisis, tendency of everybody is to go back to the old ways of working. That happens. You want to take the known path than going on the new path. That is very, very important. So crisis keeps on happening in every organization, right? So there'll be challenges coming and going. Every time you have some new product developed or new new customer onboarding the new customer. So when there is a crisis, it is important to preserve the new culture than slipping to the old culture. Okay. Understand, again, as a coach, understand the lean startup. Lean startup you can apply not just for product and solution building. You can also use it for communication building. How you are communicating with your team members, how you are communicating with the leadership, and change the way you are communicating with them. And I'm pretty sure you will see an amazing success when you go to the when you start using the lean startup mechanisms, right? Transformation should start both on development value stream and operational value stream at the same time. So this is the biggest challenge. When you identify the value streams properly, you will be able to start transformation on both the sides, development and operational value streams. If you don't do that, if you just focus on development value streams, again, you are focusing on local optimization, not on the systems thinking, right? And apply WSJF, that is weighted shortest job technique. If you are familiar with the SAFe, you know what is WSJF. Constantly apply. That way, you are able to get to, you are always working on a top priority item, right? And you have to make lean QMS part of the transformation. Work with the quality team or whoever the head of the quality in the organization, and discuss about the lean QMS and make it internal to the transformation. Make it part of the culture. When you make it part of the culture, then you are getting the finest product out to the market. And you must exploit flow where and when possible. Try to maximize the flow. That is going to be really helpful. Okay. Focus on safe core values and core competencies. Again, this is if you are a safe organization, if you focus on core values and core competencies, that is going to be really helpful and really going to push forward. And metrics focused on the flow. So create the metrics which are focused on the flow. And most importantly, they must be the actionable metrics, not vanity metrics. So people always ask me about what is actionable metrics and vanity metrics, right? Actionable metrics, think about this scenario. You go to your doctor and they take your blood sample and give you like about 30, 40 statistics. So what are you worried about? You are worried about those numbers which are outside the range, right? Anything within the range, you don't worry. If 5 metrics are out of the range, then it's a point of concern for you, right? So that's what you want to focus on. So focus on the metrics which are outside the range and take action on them. Don't be proud of the metrics which are like within the range. They are there only for your health check. All right. So create the metrics that you can take action on and work on those metrics. So these are some of the strategies that you can apply as a change agent. And every step has certain challenges. You might come across certain scenarios. Happy to support, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn and start. You can start asking me questions. Okay. So that's the end of the quick overview of the implementation roadmap. I wanted to take like 15 minutes for Q&A. Feel free to ask any question.
Great. Thank you, Sriram. So forum, everyone, we are open for questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. There's no restriction. You can unmute and ask yourself. We will be issuing one certificate for you guys for attending the webinar. You please look out for your emails once the webinar is done in the next couple of days. But again, we're open for questions. Please feel free to ask questions. You have SPCT. You do not get this one-on-one with SPCT most of the times. So please utilize the time if you have any questions.
Yes, I have a question. This is Christian here. I'm curious to know, you mentioned something that piques my interest about the new generation coming in along with the older generation that's here, and the conflict that we're currently seeing throughout the marketplace or throughout different industries. And with the implementation of SAFE, knowing that it's top down, how are you able to overcome maybe the challenges that may come about with that friction, you know, with implementing SAFE, and you have mostly the top people are from an older generation in comparison to Gen Z, and knowing that SAFE has to work in a specific environment of self-management. How do you overcome those challenges?
That's a very good question. So in fact, this is the same situation. I was talking with one of the person yesterday late evening. She comes from a company that is a paint company. I don't want to mention the name. Obviously, you can guess it. They have the same challenge. Like they have a older generation and a newer generation. Baby boomers, some of them, like, you know, so with our nation for 30, 40 years, and new generation who are like frustrated, and then patience is very less for the newer generation, obviously, right? So I mean, I don't want to point that, but in general, so pair them in that scenario, right? So bring one old, bring a person with older generation and bring a person with newer generation, put them as part of the team, and conflict is likely to evolve, and it will evolve. There is no doubt about it. Conflict is likely to evolve. So in that scenario, what happens is that you are kind of bringing the traditional thought process, how and what challenges company has faced earlier from the person of the older generation or the old school thought, and the new person will bring in the better ways of working from outside the market, and together they'll be successful. Try that.
Okay, that's something that I can definitely try.
Thanks, Christian. I hope Sriram answered your question. Any more questions, guys? We have 12 more minutes that you can utilize.
Hello, I have a similar, or I guess related question.
Yeah.
How do you feel, you might have covered this a little bit, but how do you feel is best to present ideas? I've always felt like sometimes when I have lots of questions in a row, sometimes people are not ready or feel a little put on the spot. I'm the type of person who, because I enjoy both the metrics and the qualitative narrative as well, I'm apt to, like, I want to put together presentations, I have emails, I have lists, but not everybody is like receptive to all that information at once. And so I guess my question is, how do you suggest might be best to tackle presenting this type of information, especially if an organization has not been like met with these kinds of metrics before?
Okay. So if I ask you about one small thing, one question, hey, you have your home, what is that you want to buy immediately for your home? So you will have something flashing in your brain, right? Maybe I want to buy a flower vase, or maybe I want to buy new flower bed, or I need to buy a dining table for my living room, for my kitchen, kind of stuff. So there is always some top problem that is lingering the brain of every person. So what is that problem that is bothering your leadership or your audience at this point of time? If you are able to identify and talk metrics around that, you will get immediate attention. So when I was talking about the tipping point, that's what exactly I recommend to many people. Leadership loves the metrics. Show them where they are bleeding. Okay. I want to share an example. So this might sound a little crazy. We were in a PA planning, and we were about like 500 people, and the executive says that he won't sponsor the lunch. And I was like, dude, don't do it. And he was like, nope, it's against the policy to sponsor the lunch, so I'm not going to buy the lunch. And I kept quiet. So first day, what happens during the lunchtime, everybody goes out, and it's not 1 hour lost for 500 people. It is like almost like 2 hours lost for 500 people, because people come and go, and then they take more time, kind of scenario. And next day I told him, congratulations, you just burned $100,000 while trying to save $5,000. And he was like, what do you mean by that? Yeah, so everybody, an average cost is about $100 per person, and 500 people went out. So you burned so much money, right? So you have to give those kind of statistics sometimes that will pinch them, that will hurt them. Then they'll be like, okay. So day 2, without me asking him, he brought in the lunch for everybody. He said, okay, you guys are not going out for lunch and you're coming in. So show them the waste that is happening and how that can be arrested. Speak money, and then they'll come back to you. Hope it helps.
If you're talking, you're on mute. Yeah.
I see a clap there.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay. Any more questions, guys? We have 8 more minutes. We could probably take 2 more questions before we end the webinar today. Last 2 questions.
I have a question, if you guys don't mind.
Sure.
Go ahead, Christian.
Concerning, since we're talking about safe implementation, I'm currently working with a company that is attempting to introduce and implement SAFe, maybe in a possible future. I'm slowly working towards it, but there's challenges implementing SAFe. How could I, someone who does thoroughly enjoy SAFe to an extent, and I think that it will definitely help the company and our teams with the implementation, how do you sell them on SAFe? How do you sell them that the implementation isn't probably as bad as they may think? Because like we said, they're more, they want to see metrics and things of that nature. So how do you sell the value, the qualitative value of SAFe? in its
Very good
implementation?
question. So I don't know which stage you are in, to be honest.
Dallas, Texas. I'm in Texas.
No, when I say not state, status you are in with implementation.
Oh,
right?
got you.
Sorry.
We're in the, when I say very beginning, I mean they're teetering and tottering around, like,
Sure.
should we implement or should we not?
Sure. So this is one selling point for you. This could be one of the selling point for you, Christian. So probably I mean, if you look at the Scaled Agile website, there are a lot of case studies that have been published from the various industries. I mean, I'm very glad to see that. So not all the companies have published it. So if you are in a pharma industry or maybe telecom industry or retail industry, you'll be able to find the case studies of your competitors. And this is the business results they have achieved without spending additional dollars.
Oh, that's great.
Okay. So if you are from a retail industry, look for the case studies from the retail industry.
Yes, I'm in the retail industry.
Okay. So you'll be able to find related industry data. Okay.
Okay.
And if you want to maybe some of them are my customers. If any of the industry is, I can speak more about them. Okay.
Okay.
And that can be your compelling reason. Okay, so they are our competitors and they have done it and they have achieved this. And look at how your competitor has done in the last couple of quarters, right? So maybe in the last 2 quarters they did better than you, or you are doing better than them. If you are doing better than them, maybe there is a challenge, and there could I mean, probably you are doing the right thing. And if the gap has increased, obviously you are not on the right path, right? And maybe you have achieved the success, but your team is not happy. People are like, yeah, man, this place sucks. And then you have high turnaround ratio of the employees.
Right.
So these are some of the things I would look at. I mean, I'll be happy to set up some time and then give more guidance.
Yeah.
Yes, I would definitely love that, especially on the case studies where I can find that and kind of what to look at.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
One last question, guys. We have 5 more minutes. One last question, if you guys have any. If not, we can wrap it up.
Yeah, I got a question. If I can go ahead, please.
Sure, Ola.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. My question is how important is metrics when it comes to, like, safe? And the challenge we currently experience in my current organization is we moving from waterfall into agile. And it's more of a control and command, where now we write the user stories and all that, trying to put so much overcommitted for the developers. And the challenge from my end is more like, can we reduce this user stories where we able to deliver value? Or on the management point of view, is more like we just need to keep the metrics, just keep committing, and then not able to deliver when the sprint comes to, or the PI comes to, like a close. So how big is metrics when it comes to situation where we're not able to deliver value?
Yeah, very good question. So this is what I would say when it comes to the metrics, right? Metrics are always a double-edged sword. So you use it well, and then it will help you. You don't use them well, it is going to cut your throat. It's going to kill you. So what I would say is that SAFe is into metrics. I don't say a lot into metrics, especially with SAFe 6.0, they created something called the flow metrics. So if you can bring in the flow metrics, showing them the results, how you are able to deliver the things, right? And maybe if they can allow you to experiment with a team, hey, let me experiment with this particular team, right? And in most of the companies, what happens is that a lot of action, but no results. When I say a lot of action, no results, constantly changing priorities are the ones which are going to kill and self-destroy the system. So your flow metrics are going to show you how long an item has been waiting in the system. And if you reduce that constant reprioritization, how fast it can flow through the system. So these are some of the ideas I would throw at Ola. As I said, show the metrics, and anytime when you show the metrics, show the dollar impact to the leadership, immediately you will see the eyes rising.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sriram, we are at 11:58 Eastern, 2 minutes to go. Ola, to add Sriram's point, I just want to add one more point is, if you're not delivering business value, if you're not delivering quality, then you're not delivering anything. You deliver 1,000 story points a sprint, there is no value delivered to the customer, you're doing nothing, right? So I would focus on the business value than any other metrics. I focus on the quality than any other metrics. I make sure my customer is happy. If that's not happening, 1,000 metrics you meet, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Thank you all. We're at last 1 minute. Thank you all for being with us today. Have a great rest of your day. We will be sending out certificates issuing that you have attended the Safe Overview Implementation Roadmap with us. And we'll also be sending the video recorded for this webinar. Thank you all again. Have a good one. Bye.
Guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.